who will honest to the elders and apostles of the millstone. Shalom to the one God Israelites, which include the Judas children, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Indians who are first together according to the book of Jeremiah 50 and 33, with to whom Soleil pertained the adoption, the giving of the law, the promises, the glory, and the covenants, according to the book of Romans chapter 9. Okay, and this video, this lesson is called How Close Are We to World War III? How close are we to World War III, judging by events happening across the globe? Can it happen in the 21st century? Can it happen in the 21st century or a different one? These are some of the questions people have been asking themselves for years now, and they have a valid reason, because tensions have been rising in the Middle East, the Asian continent, and the rest of the world. However, we cannot forget the devastating effects of the previous wars, World War I and II. Those who fought in past wars or witnessed it will resist any attempt to start another war. Alright, so here goes the all-important question: is World War III happening any time soon? Well, all possible signs that could lead to an all-out war have been triggered. There's rising tensions in the Middle East, North Korea forging ahead and testing their nuclear warheads despite sanctions, the killing of Qasem Soleimani, and the rise of other superpowers. The emerging superpowers include Russia and China, with the latter recently ending its feud with the US in what experts term as trade wars. However, will all these happening, the most likely event to instigate a war was the killing of the Iran army commander Qasem Soleimani. But it seems no country wants to risk going to war because of the devastating effect it could leave. Plus, there are other ways a nation can display its might, and an example is the trade war between China and the US. The beginning of World War III, what factor could trigger such conflict for the third time? War. The thought of it happening scares the living daylight out of me. And I know it does the same to you too. No, it doesn't. You know, the elect don't fear war. We're looking forward to war. Okay, because it's war between the spirit and power of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, and we know that the nations will no longer, make war in the kingdom of Osman. Okay, you see Isaiah 2 and 4, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Okay, so this is the last war, which is necessary also, okay? Okay. It's an experience that no individual or country wishes to undergo. That's because whether you are a superpower, have a well-armed military, or have enough fighters, your opponent will still cause you some damages. However, a look at what took place at the start of the year 2020 would remind you of the ugly memories that all countries, including the US, have about wars. Remind you of the ugly memories that all countries, including the US, have about wars. The hoisting of the red war flag by Iran, which was a sign of war, didn't yield any result. The red flag Iran hoisted was to indicate the possibility of several fights to come. The issue was between the US and Iran following the death of Soleimani. The flag also has a slogan that reads, "O avengers of Hussein," that Iran will retaliate. Following Qasem Soleimani's death, the answer is yes. They responded by bombing several US military bases around the territory. Soleimani's death was also greeted with mixed feelings, with some world leaders arguing that the decision by Donald Trump was unpalatable and could lead to an escalation in the Middle East region and beyond. But outside Soleimani's death, other factors could give rise to World War III. It's just that one of that caught our attention the most and made us believe the war between Iran and the US together with the allies would be now another thing was Soleimani's demise. Let's look at numerous factors that could contribute to a third world war. First one, territorial conflict between nations Ukraine and Russia, a play which you already know if you don't know. Russia, a world power with great military might, has always somehow been involved in the previous wars, talking about World War I and II. Okay, that's interesting to know. Again, Russia has proven itself as the key driver of the Ukraine effect. Now Ukraine and Russia are at it again. Conflict is regarding the Crimean Peninsula, which Russia was said to have annexed back in the year 2014. And as of the time of writing, the fight between the two regions has started. Russia has also been actively supporting separatists in eastern Ukraine with everything they need to win the conflict between them and the Ukrainian government. They provide materials, men, and even money. However, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has extended the hand of peace of President Putin over Russia, but many in both countries have expressed mixed feelings about the agreement. For the Ukrainians, a ceasefire and withdrawal of the Ukrainian military will weaken the country's defense, particularly at the eastern border. It's also surprising that the ceasefire agreement had been in place since 2014, but both parties haven't enforced it. So Zelensky's critics believe things could take a turn for the worse should Ukraine withdraw its military from the region. But one thing is for sure, there's little to no hope of Ukraine reclaiming Crimea. So there's a risk of further conflict between Russia and Ukraine if the situation between them doesn't improve.